Hi guys, welcome to Miami Yoga Bootcamp. My name is Brianna and I am here today to lead you through introductory to backward bending, something I'm extremely passionate about, and I hope that after you begin practicing, you will be too. The first thing I want to really encourage is that this exercise should be therapeutic, so if you feel pain or tension, perhaps do less, back up, return to a previous step, or even just slow down. Every day is different. Some days when you're practicing, you'll be maintaining the flexibility and strength you have, and other days you will be ready to progress. And it's extremely important to know which day and which body you're in. So before you start, we're always going to warm up the spine just to kind of gauge where we are. We're going to start with a few spinal articulations, and that's just to kind of wake up and bring awareness into the spine. As you do that, you'll be able to know if there's a kink, if there's a twist. Today might need more of a maintenance day than everything feels good, let's try and go deeper. So we're going to start in a bridge. Turn around, lie down on your back. Positioning for the legs. Your feet are about hip-width distance, okay? If you need to, you're more than welcome to go a little bit wider. Just try not to go too wide. We do want to eventually track hip, knees, and ankles within our backward bends, and then over time, completely closing it. So we're just using the spine and not the hips. So for bridge, you're going to place your palms flat to the floor. Turn the scapulas under, tuck the chin to the chest, and just to wake up the spine. So you'll notice a slight gap you'll have between the spine and the floor. That's your natural curvature, no problem. Arms over the head just to warm up the spine. Draw the rib cage down, press the hips up, and try to completely eliminate the gap between the floor and the spine. You'll want to eliminate that gap completely. So relax it and let the body return to its natural shape. And then again from there, contract, draw the ribs down, press your hips up. This is a posterior tilt of the pelvis. If right now you're not able to get the spine all the way flat, don't worry about it. Just starting to wake up the spine. A few more, number 3, and relax it. 2 more, number 4, ribs down, hips up, relax. Last one, let's hold this one, ribs down, hips up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. That same technique you're going to be using later in other backward bends, just restacking the spine, creating space again so that when you finish the exercise, you don't feel like a T-Rex or a dinosaur just locked up. So we do want to counter stretch as much as possible, maintaining a therapeutic training session. From here, we'll move into a bridge. You have the option to grab your ankles, all 5 fingers together. If this is difficult for you, just lift the feet up, then you can grab the ankles and place the feet down. From here, turn the scapula towards one another. Those are your shoulder blades. Drive your heels down and let's lift the hips up. Notice when you lift the hips up, the knees go past the ankles. So we're going to move the spine back and up, shifting the body weight more towards the heels. Chin down, shoulders back. Continue to pull on the ankles and try to lift your hips up. Use your breath. Notice right now how your breath can increase the backward bend and actually relax the spine. Slowly lower down, starting from the middle back, all the way to the lumbar spine, to the sacrum, to the coccyx, and release. This is a great way to just warm up your spine before you do anything deeper. We'll do one more. Again, hands to the ankles. If hands on the ankles is too much or you're not reaching, bring your feet 2 inches forward in front of you. Press the heels down, lift your butt up, and you can interlace the fingers underneath your back or keep your palms flat. So right now we are using the upper body strength to support the backward bend. It's up to you, whatever feels best today. Turn the scapula, shoulder blades under, chin to the chest, drive the heels down, and again lift up, driving the feet into the floor. You'll notice this happens in camel as well. When you grab the feet, the hips drop back. So send your hips back and up, pull your feet, drive the heels down, breathe deeply. Try to get your knees in line with your hips to the best of your ability. Over time, opening up the spine. Slowly lower down, 1 vertebrae at a time, using the strength of the legs, the arm strength. Beautiful release. Next is wheels. So if wheels not in your practice, you're more than welcome to do bridge. I'll show you just a warm-up for wheels. So if you don't have the upper body strength or the shoulder mobility to press up, there's actually a step you can do in between. Palms flat to the floor, fingertips pointing towards the shoulders. If you don't have the strength, you'll press the hands down into the floor, press your feet into the floor, and push up as high as you can, tucking the chin to the chest, placing the top of the head to the floor. Pausing here. So the weight is not in the head alone, mostly it's in my feet and in my arms. From here you can pause and then lift again. That's a great stage to start in. When you lower down, you'll bend the elbows, place the crown of the head to the floor, and to protect the neck, tuck the chin to the chest, and just like we did in the bridge, slowly lower the spine down. That's a perfect way to get into the full press from head up. If it's in your practice, we'll go all the way up this time, palms flat to the floor, fingers pointing towards the shoulders. The count of 3, lifting up, 1, 2, 3, press up, and breathe. From here, keep the feet flat, hands flat, draw your head back, look in between the hands, now look in between your legs, going as far back as possible, breathe. To exit, protecting the neck first, tuck the chin at the chest, bend the knees, bend the elbows, slowly lower down, and again, 1 vertebrae at a time, just like the spinal articulations. Breathe. If you're new to this might be a lot for the wrist, so counter stretch. The idea of a counter stretch is that you do it before you need it. I know a lot of the times we wait until we get sore and then we rush it. It's like when you need a massage, it's almost a little bit too late, then you're in the kind of too far zone. So I'm a fan of overly counter stretching. If the spine right now is also bothering you, you can windshield wiper the legs. Again, just to keep your training therapeutic and not so tight. We'll do one more wheel, adding a little bit of depth here. As we come up on the toes and wheel, we shift the pressure that was once in the lower spine into the upper back. So it's just a shift of weight. Hands to the floor. And if you're still doing bridge, you have the option to also come up on your toes and see how that feels. We'll all go up, the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, press up. First, relax the head, just let everything hang, and then get the cervical spine involved. So you'll shrug through the shoulders, pull your head back as far as you can. From here, come up on your toes. To deepen the backward bend, walk your feet in closer. Walk your hands in closer. Lift through the shoulders, and one more time, try to pull the head back as far as you can. Be mindful of your legs, make sure your knees aren't turning out. Pull them in, make sure the heels aren't turning out. Draw them in line with the knees and the ankles. Tuck the chin of the chest. You can walk the feet forward and slowly lower down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Chin to the chest, protecting the spine. Roll your wrist, shake it out. And now we'll prepare to do a little bit deeper backward bending. Not necessarily deeper, but it will allow you to work different areas of the spine that from doing on the floor you're not able to do. For this, you'll need a few blocks. If you don't have blocks, don't worry. I guess I said you need, but you don't need them. They're helpful for different areas of this exercise. Everyone should have a towel. So let's rearrange our positioning, and you'll need a wall, a clear space somewhere. If you're at home, make sure the furniture around you is safe, or kids or animals are away. So I'll just rearrange the mat. All right, so the importance of the towel. Why the towel? Well, I'm in Miami, I'm a little sweaty, but that's not it. So the towel is going to maintain your alignment. So you can grab, maybe a yogi toes or something fancy, but also you could just grab a shower towel. You're gonna take that towel and fold it in half. I'm from Missouri, we say hot dog style. Hot dog style. So from here, you're gonna actually place it in line with the mat. What this is going to do is ensure that every time you do this exercise, your feet are in line with your hands, are in line with your shoulders are in line with your hips, especially when you start to do more reps. When we get reps, you know, we're human, we get a little bit sloppy. So this towel is kind of just guiding you. And even though I do these all the time and often, I still use a towel just to make sure, because every time is a little bit different. So if you're new to this, what you want to do first is get your alignment from the ground up, making sure that your big toe and your heel are touching the towel. And that's kind of where you're gonna stay. You never wanna be inside of the towel or off the towel, and these things will happen when the spine doesn't wanna move. So when the spine doesn't wanna move, every other part of your body will say, don't worry, let me help. So this is our gauge. Reach back and touch the wall. You want to make sure that you can touch the wall, either palm flat, or as you get a little bit deeper into your spine, you'll be able to bring just fingertips to the wall. Every day you want to check to see where you are. This is also a great stretch to do in between to release the backward bend. So a lot of the times people want to forward fold so fast after they come up. That's okay, but a good release is a twist of the thoracic spine. That way you're still maintaining the pressure, but not completely going in the other direction. So if you're new to this, you're gonna reach back, touch the wall, both sides, opening up the spine. Using the strength of the legs and allowing the spine to be flexible. So if you can see my spine from the side, natural curvature. We've got a back bend at the neck, forward fold at the thoracic, and then a natural curvature of the lumbar sacrum coccyx, okay? What we're going to do first is create as much length as possible. So trying to completely straighten the spine. And again, that's what we did on the floor with the spinal articulations. Arms over your head sideways. Interlace the fingers, release the index fingers, thumbs crossed. Release the head back. Notice if right now your head and neck and shoulders are already feeling tight. If that's the case, drop the shoulders down, bring the arms forward. Now lift the throat and see if you can bring the head even further back. From there, restack the arms over the torso, over the legs. Now from this side, you can see my spine is backward bending. Okay, it's natural curvature, but I want to create as much space as possible. Notice the spine. I'm going to draw the rib cage back, using abdominal strength. Contract the glutes, press the hips forward, eliminating that lower back bend curvature. From here, press the heels down and stretch up. Pull your rib cage up away from your hips. Notice I'm going up, but I'm not going forward. So really creating just space in the beginning. As I like to say, up is the new back. From here, I've created as much space as possible. Drive the heels down, bring your armpits back. Armpits move first. Shrug the armpits back to move. When you can't move the armpits anymore, press the heels down, lift your rib cage up. Channel your camel posture. When you can't lift the rib cage up, then push the stomach, legs, hips, everything forward, moving into the flexible part of the spine. Total spine is backward bending. Touch the fingertips to the floor, pause. When you come up, retracing your steps, using the abdominal strength and the glutes. Draw your rib cage back, press your hips forward. Head comes up like a nod, arms down. So occasionally people feel pain in the neck, or in even some series and styles will keep the head up in backward bending, just to overly caution. But remember, to total spine backward bend, you have to move your cervical spine as well. So when you're moving your head in yoga, I like to think of it as if you were moving your head throughout the day. You nod, you look over your shoulder, you turn. But when you are looking at things, you're using mostly your body, and the head is the last thing, the eyes are the last thing that falls. So I'm not using my neck to lift my spine up. If that's the case, you'll know, because when you're in your backward bend, you'll do this, and then the neck has to lift you up. But we want to use the whole thing, we want to use it well. So I said this was for beginners. If you don't go back that low, I want you to go back as far as you can and pause just like I did, slowly coming up, restacking your spine. So if you have tight shoulders, you might start a little bit closer. The invitation is still the same. To traction, ribs back, hips forward. Move your arms as much as you can.
And I'll demo. Maybe this is as far as the arms go. Then try to lift the chest, and then move into the hips. Touch here, pause, and breathe. When you come up, it's the same request. Rib cage back, hips forward. Once the spine is straight, my head just nods up. Your head will just come up once it feels secure and ready. You'll want to do that over time until you get lower and lower down the wall. As you're going down the wall, you're going to need to create space. So once you've done that a few times, the spine is warmed up. Little twist. See, I'm a little bit further away, so I'll come in closer. To get yourself down the wall, you'll set it up the same. Spine straight, stretch up, move from the upper spine, middle spine, lower spine, and I'll just stay here for now. Once you touch, pause, legs straight. The knees will bend when the spine doesn't want to, so keep the legs straight. Separate the hands. To walk down the wall, bend your elbows. Keep your hands lower than your shoulders. That'll keep the back bend in the upper spine, as opposed to hands to the wall, chest, then the hands move. Now there's a lot of pressure in the lower spine, unneeded, unwarranted, and unwelcome. So to get down the wall, make sure the hands lead and bend the elbows. If you're going all the way down, at any point that feels comfortable to you, you can come up on the toes. The placement using the towel. Index finger, lift through the chest, pull the head back, breathe. Lean your chest as close to the wall as possible. And slowly come back out, walking yourself back up the wall. Heels come down when you need them for support. Notice the stacking, the snaking. Hips forward, ribs back, spine straight, head up, arms down. Breathe in between, little twisting. How do you know if you can go down or not? If you can press up into wheel, like we did in the beginning of the video, technically you can go down because that is just wheel pose. So I always try to remind people when they're going down, it's just a back bend and wheel, which you already have. So you might have to build a little bit of courage with practicing, but know that if you can press up into wheel, you have the strength to go down there. If you're trying to go down there and you're afraid that you won't be able to come back up, I want to show you a good bail. And bailing happens to advanced yogis and beginner yogis. Sometimes when I'm teaching, I haven't moved at all, and then I'll try to demonstrate and lights out, okay? So if you need to bail, this is a really safe bail. The first thing you'll want to do is always protect the neck. So let's say I'm going down, everything is great, beautiful, wonderful, no problems, no complaints. I'm actually surprised, wow, better than usual. And then you touch the floor, but you can't come up. There's no strength that's going to get you back up here. Just like we did before. Tuck the chin to the chest, bend the knees, bend the elbows, lower down. And then physically shake it off, mentally shake it off. And if you're going into this posture and you're very new, do 10 of those where you just go all the way down, bail, roll to the side, try not to sit up, stand up, and go again. Keep going until you find the strength, the courage, the muster to go back up. I will say this, when you are coming back up, the bigger space you can create between your hand and the wall, the better difference, the more push you'll have to go up. So just very briefly, when you go up, if you go all the way down and you're trying to come back up the wall, instead of going here, because that's not going to give you a big push, you want to try to get your hand as far up on the wall as possible, then you can push into the wall. And the other hand goes higher, 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 ribs back, hips forward, and arms down. This should always be therapeutic, and I believe when people start doing quantity over quality, the therapy from the practice is a little bit lost. So
when you're doing this, less can be more. Please stay in tune with your body, your mind that day. If the day was full, maybe you need to do less. If tomorrow was full, maybe you need to do less. If the day was breezy, just be in tune. That is the whole idea of yoga practice, is being in union with yourself and not forcing. You'll know that you're forcing because when you leave, you'll be in pain as opposed to feeling good. The blocks are necessary if you are getting lower and lower, and if you'd like to move the back bend higher and higher. So the greater distance between my hands and my feet. So right now when I touch the blocks, I'll be lifting the chest up even higher than my legs are, which is going to lift the backward bend up even more. Really want to emphasize the snaking of the spine. When you do this, you are creating moments of space between every vertebrae so that when you leave, it doesn't feel like your back did this the whole time. When you're ready, once you've gone up and down a few times and that feels comfortable, and when I say ready, I mean do that for a few months. Just going down and up, down and up, down and up, waking it up. When that feels comfortable, you can add blocks. Arms up, same technique. Relax the head. I just naturally bring the arms forward now because I know I have the range to pull them up and it'll hold my neck up. From here, let the legs be strong, let the spine be flexible. Contract the legs, root down, rise up, ribs back, hips forward. Lift the armpits back. To get the arms back more, I'm gonna shrug. We all have that shrug within us. Lift the rib cage up. Then when I know there's nothing else I can do, stomach, legs, hips, everything goes forward, legs are straight. From here, you can walk yourself to the blocks. Hands on the blocks, straighten the arms, straighten the legs, lean the chest as close as possible to the wall as you can get it. You'll feel this movement, this shift in the thoracic and cervical spine. Be mindful not to jam the neck. So there are little movements you can do in the shoulders. Opening up through the chest, pull the head back and lean in more. When you exit, stack the spine. Notice where the back bend is. Ribs back, hips forward, spine straight, head up. And release, arms down. There's a multitude of counter stretching you can do right now if your back feels tight. For me, my back doesn't feel tight, and that is due to the snaking of the spine. If you come out of this exercise and you do need to do a counter stretch, you'll just lie on your back and a supine twist. So with the knee bent, you can cross the leg over and just release the lower spine. If there's a lot of tension here, I recommend placing the top hand to the top of the thigh, the lower hand to the base of the spine, and pushing the hips away from you. You can also use the hand to massage the spine wherever you feel tight or tender. But again, if done correctly, in time with yourself, that is intimacy, in time with me, you won't feel this crunch sensation. You just have to restack your spine. Think of the Kundalini rising. It is just going in circles rather than, like the robot game on the cell phone that we used to have where the snake was just going in a box. So you can counter stretch. Make sure you do both sides. I recommend setting a timer. Okay, maybe 1 minute on each side just to release. And always sealing off your practice with just gratitude for what your body has done, what it is doing, and what it's going to do in the future, because the body is always working. Thank you so much for joining Miami Yoga Bootcamp.